Hey, this is Chris Warren with the Chili Peppers, and I'm going to take you through Chad's current touring kit for 2024. And we're here in Hollywood, Florida, I think, at the Hard Rock Theater. And yeah, here we go. DW, collector's series kit. It's maple mahogany. It's actually our second maple mahogany kit because we discovered that we really liked maple mahogany kits. Sort of a little nod to like old Ludwig kits, and it's just such a great combo. So we have a 16 by 24 kick, traditional sizes, 8 by 12, 14, 14, 16, 16. And then the gong drum is a 23-inch drum. I don't know the depth, but I think it's probably, 14, 16. We got these clear color tone emperors. We just always went with like clear emperors, and then we started having fun with the color tone. So like the last kit up, we did the smoke gray because it was a silver kit. And on this one, because there's a lot of orangey kind of colors, we went with the orange color tones. We have a 6.5 by 12 snare. So just like a little auxiliary kind of snare. 10-inch roto tom. We got a jam block, Chad Smith's signature cowbell. Also a custom color that they just did for us for this kit. This Peisty setup, which we've pretty much stuck with the whole time. Combination of a signature power top with a sound edge bottom, 15-inch, signature splash, 19 extreme, 20-inch extreme, a 24-inch ride, a 24-inch crash. So this, between these two 24s, there's like such cool washiness that he can do. And then the PSTX, Swiss crash, I think it's called, with a little stack on top. Rocket toms, all 6-inch in diameter of various depth, and he loves, doing fills on those too. The hardware was sort of a labor of love for me, getting it all plated, because I literally took every stand and memory lock and everything up down to the very piece, got it all plated in satin bronze, so it kind of matches, the cymbals. So all the lugs, hoops, even the kick pedal and hi-hat stand we did. Even his gong mallet holder. I actually had this plated. This was a bowl I bought on Amazon and got it plated with all the hardware. His drink bucket, I got that plated too. Why not? The sort of spiral cymbal, and then ice mega bell. That's usually here. It's only here because the only way to get into this monstrosity is to pull this out. This is a cast aluminum shell. There's a guy in California that makes these shells. I think he still does. And so as opposed to like a rolled traditional snare where it's, thin piece of whatever metal and rolled and then welded, this is cast, into a sand casting process. So it's a pretty heavy shell. And then these are bell brass DW hoops. And then, of course, it's hardware plated, so it's sort of a silver and gold there. So there's this drum over here. More than anything else, people like always ask, what is that? Because if you see the front of it, it looks like, I don't know what it looks like. It looks like an elbow macaroni. It's a wild look. So anyway, this drum is based on an old brand from 70s, 80s called Staccato. And they were fiberglass drums. And the idea was that the sound projected out to the listener because drums aren't loud enough for some reason. On the last kit, we had a real one and had it painted to match the kit. This one is a 3D printed drum. So I took the original staccato drum to these 3D printers that I found, and they scanned and printed a drum, and it was the first time they'd ever done it. And so everyone was kind of, curious to see the results are. But we've had it here for months, and it's like standing the test. What's also incredible is the paint job they did on this. This is an airbrush paint job. I gave them one of the toms, and they matched it pretty damn good.
You mind hitting it? Let's see what that sounds like.
Sounds like a drum, right?
Printed drum
for resin. Sounds pretty good to me. Yeah. Ambassadors on the Rezo side of everything. A controlled sound X. Chad uses and has for a very long time his signature funk blasters. And capping it all off is a 52-inch polished gong. Apparently this gong was sitting in the Paiste warehouse in Switzerland. It's like from the 90s, so I guess that's sort of vintage by today's standards. This is my world during the show. I'm usually in one of two places. I'm either here or there, and I split the time pretty evenly. But so I always have a backup snare because with Chad hitting as hard as he does and stuff, a snare swap out is at least one change as part of every show. When I'm not in drum tech mode, I'm sort of the, auxiliary player in the band. Don't for once think that there's like a real keyboard player here. I have a Mellotron, digital Mellotron. This is sort of how it all started, was with Mellotron sounds, because they had a song back in 2005, I think, that had a sort of prominent Mellotron flutes sound, the song Snow. John kind of asked me, he's like, oh, you could probably figure out the chords to that. Pretty simple. I was like, okay. Then I have the Arturia key step controlling the Electro-Harmonix vocoder pedal. That's actually, I should say, this is where it really started, was doing the vocoder effect. Then I have a Prophet 6, which I think is just a great utility, can kind of cover so many things, pads and strings and basses, leads. It's just a great sounding keyboard. And then some percussive stuff on the Nord Drum 3. I do run one patch through this attack, the Electro-Harmonix Attack Decay. Then I got a clap stack, an Istanbul clap stack for a more, for an 808 sounding kind of clap. A little tambourine action on the song Black Summer. I have Ableton for only a drum beat. There's no tracks. There's no nothing. I mean, if you zoom in on this, it's basically like an empty Ableton session. There is two things on there: a click and a drum loop. And I send Chad the click so he knows how to count it off. And then when he says go, boom, I hit the loop, and there we go. Got an organ for 2 songs. I think that's my world. Thanks for coming by, Modern Drummer. This has been a lot of fun. It's not often I get to nerd out on drum stuff, but if there's ever a time I'm going to, it's going to be with Modern Drummer, so why not?